it yourself with a store-bought automatic blood pressure machine. But don't make up silly rules. If your blood pressure is high once, see a doctor. There's nothing here that says it has to be multiple times. And here's how significant high blood pressure can be. There is a direct linear relationship between high blood pressure and heart attack. There's a direct linear relationship between high blood pressure and stroke. An increase of your systolic blood pressure of just 20 millimeters mercury, or an increase of your diastolic blood pressure of just 10 millimeters of mercury, doubles your risk for a heart attack. And that's from a baseline blood pressure of 115/75. And if your blood pressure is higher than that, your risk of a heart attack more than doubles with each increase. And here's why I urge you to make the diagnosis early. Treatment is so easy. Nobody should ever die from high blood pressure. Dietary changes are all that most people need to do to correct their blood pressure. And there's actually something called the DASH diet. DASH, D-A-S-H, is an acronym for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. It's stuff that you might expect. It consists of eating mostly fruit, vegetables, nuts, and whole grains. For animal products, it includes fish and poultry rather than red meats. And it stipulates decreasing sugar, sweets, animal fats, and sodium. This DASH diet can decrease your systolic blood pressure by about 5 millimeters mercury and your diastolic blood pressure by about 3 millimeters mercury. It can improve your blood pressure even if you don't lose any weight. It's especially important to eat very little sodium if you have any degree of high blood pressure. Sodium, that's salt. And significantly lowering your sodium can reduce your systolic blood pressure by 5 to 20 millimeters mercury. All the dietary options for reducing a heart attack also are good for reducing your blood pressure. They include low fat, high fiber, and low sugar. And drinking less alcohol is critical for lowering your blood pressure. That alone can reduce your systolic and diastolic blood pressure by 2 to 3 millimeters of mercury. The lifestyle and exercise options that I've spoke of before are perfect for lowering your blood pressure too. They include no smoking and weight control and regular exercise. If you exercise for just 40 minutes, 3 to 4 times each week, you can reduce your systolic blood pressure by 5 millimeters of mercury and your diastolic blood pressure by 3 millimeters of mercury. You see, these reductions probably don't sound like a lot, but for your arteries, these are huge improvements. And the longer you stick with good diet and exercise habits, the lower they'll get. None of the diet or lifestyle measures for reducing your risk of heart attack, stroke, or high blood pressure is something that you should do only temporarily. These are all permanent changes you will need to make. And guess what? The vitamins, minerals, and supplements that I've talked about before are good for your blood pressure too. Calcium and magnesium, more potassium and less sodium, the B vitamins 3, 6, 9, and 12, vitamin C, vitamin E, CoQ10, L-carnitine, and alpha-lipoic acid. Granted, none of these vitamins, minerals, or supplements is good enough all by itself. And none of these things will create huge decreases in your blood pressure. But you know, every little bit helps. Even all of them are no substitute for more effective treatments like the medications that I'll be discussing in a minute. And with high blood pressure, please don't play around. Treat it aggressively from the start. Now, I gave you some herbs for preventing heart attack and stroke. They were hawthorn, phytoestrogens, red clover, licorice root, hops, and wild yam. And they are fine for blood pressure. They're not going to hurt, but they're not going to fix it. The most important thing to know about is the medications. There are so many of them, and they're so easy to take. They're actually very inexpensive, and they work. Please don't be cavalier about this. If you have high blood pressure, start taking a medication. Don't wait. Diet and exercise management will take time. Go ahead and get your blood pressure down and under control with a medication. It's just too risky not to address this seriously. If you become a gym rat and adopt the perfect diet, then you can possibly consider tapering off your medication. But be realistic. The fact is that most people who need a medication for high blood pressure need it for the rest of their lives. And as long as they continue taking it, the rest of their life can be very long. But if not, it's usually pretty short. And finally, I'll tell you a bit about high blood pressure and HRT because it's very common for a doctor to refuse to give you HRT if your blood pressure is high. It's all about risk. If your blood pressure is high, that alone puts you at high risk for heart attack, stroke, and blood clots. And while HRT offers more benefits than risk in circumstances of normal blood pressure, the opposite is true with high blood pressure. This is very consistent with what I taught you about heart attacks. If you take HRT before you have hardening of your arteries, its benefits outweigh its risks. But if you take HRT after you already have hardening of your arteries, its risks outweigh the benefits. And the very same principle applies to blood pressure. Get your blood pressure under control first and foremost. That alone will decrease your risk for everything else. And then you can consider HRT. Okay, to summarize, high blood pressure is the most common disease anywhere, and it produces no symptoms. That's why it's called the silent killer. If your blood pressure is over 120/80, you have high blood pressure, and that warrants treatment with a blood pressure lowering medication. In addition to medication, change your diet and lifestyle accordingly, and you can live happily ever after. Many of the women who have consultations with me do so for help in managing their blood pressure so that they can take HRT. If you need me to help you with that, please schedule a consultation at menopausetailor.me, or if you need to find out what your risks are and assess whether your benefits outweigh your risks, please schedule a consultation. You can't imagine how much a consultation will help you. I write you a document that tailors all the information to you and gives you the basic education that you will refer to over and over and over again. Every woman with whom I have a consultation tells me that I don't charge enough. They all tell me that I should charge way more, and they tell me that the document alone is worth twice as much as what I charge. My goal is not to charge a lot. My goal is to give you a lot. My goal is to give you the best education you can get and make sure that it helps you in every capacity. So don't hesitate to schedule a consultation, because I promise you it will serve you very well in a number of ways for the rest of your life. And if you have any inkling that you might have high blood pressure, it is a fantastic reason to schedule a consultation, get this education, and make sure you get a jump start on everything that you need to do to lower your risks, because it's so under your control. You can do so much, and you should. And the bottom line is, unfortunately, some people forfeit the opportunity simply because they don't take it seriously enough, or they don't have the education. They don't know that it's as serious as it is. So please go to my website, which is menopausetailor.me. Scout around. It's brand new. I've just upgraded the website. Everything is kind of new and spiffy. There's all kinds of things that you can take advantage of, neat articles you can read, webinars you can buy. You can buy this whole education on DVD. You can watch my videos. You can see all the charts that I present on the videos. The charts are very handy for everything. You can schedule a consultation, and you can be well prepared to make the rest of your life the best of your life without high blood pressure problems and without having to worry about the silent killer simply because you didn't know it, because it didn't make its presence known. Now you know how it works, and now you know that you are responsible for making sure it doesn't happen to you. So go to my website and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and come back next week for another podcast. It will be the last one in this big long unit on heart attack, and it'll be on diabetes at menopause. It's going to shock you. Okay, bye.